Hello and welcome back to This Week in Biotech. Today I'm covering biotech and pharma news from July 18th to July 24th, 2025, and it is edition 62. So a lot has happened this week, especially with Sarepta, as many of you know. Sarepta's gene therapy crisis is really deepening and the ripple effects are actually global. Last week, Sarepta confirmed a third patient death tied to its AAV gene therapy platform, this time in limb-girdle muscular dystrophy trial. And the cause was, again, acute liver failure, as we have seen with the two non-ambulatory cases a few weeks ago with Elevidys. And in response, the FDA requested to halt all US shipments of Elevidys, Sarepta's approved gene therapy for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Now, the thing is that these two patients that died because of administration of Elevidys were non-ambulatory, so the sort of worst case of Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and these people are already in a bad state, and this drug is kind of like the Hail Mary, if you will. And unfortunately, both of those boys passed away from liver toxicity or acute liver failure. And so there's this ethics of this decision. The company initially resisted, citing no new safety signals in ambulatory patients, because, as I said, these were non-ambulatory patient deaths. But ultimately, the company complied, pausing shipments, agreeing to add a black box warning, and preparing a new immunosuppression protocol to address the risk. But the FDA did not stop there. It placed a clinical hold on Sarepta's LGMD, so the limb-girdle muscular dystrophy pipeline, including lead program SRP-9003, and revoked the AAV-RH74 platform designation, which was recently awarded, signaling a broad loss of confidence in Sarepta's vector technology, which is definitely a harsh statement by the FDA. Meanwhile, Roche, which markets Elevidys internationally, paused new shipments in 6 countries that rely on FDA guidance, including Japan and UAE. Only patients in countries with independent regulatory approvals will continue to receive the therapy for now. So the implications are staggering. Patients with Duchenne, both in the US and abroad, are now facing even fewer treatment options for families fighting against the relentlessly progressive disease. The sudden loss of access raises serious ethical questions, in my opinion. How do you balance a regulatory caution with the urgent need for treatment in a condition that offers little time and few alternatives in many cases? This week, Stat News reported that Sarepta's return to market may hinge on proving that fatal liver events can be fully prevented. And then yesterday, Endpoints confirmed that the FDA Biologics Division is unanimous in its opposition to reintroducing Elevidys under current conditions, and that new studies will likely be required. What kind of studies and how long they'll take is still unclear. Sarepta, which is a company praised for its community engagement, now finds itself at a crossroads and under scrutiny for delayed disclosures. Its stock fell over 29%, and H.C. Wainwright slashed its price target to $0, warning of existential risk. I think many other people that I have talked to think that recovery is possible, but only if Sarepta can meet FDA expectations, which are really high right now, restart clinical development, and rebuild trust with regulators, investors, and most importantly with patients. But the thing is that the company recently slashed its workforce, and we'll see if this will be feasible. Next week, I'll be discussing the story in depth with Hartaj Singh from Biotech Capital Compass on the podcast. We are planning to cover Sarepta, the evolving regulatory environment for gene therapies, and what comes next for this high-stakes corner of biotech. Last Friday, board director Simeon George disclosed that he personally purchased $51.5 million worth of CRISPR Therapeutics stock at a price of $52.03 per share. That's a major vote of confidence, and the markets noticed because the stock soared nearly 20% on the day, marking its largest one-day gain since February 2025. And this isn't just flashy headline, it's meaningful. Insider buying of this size often signals strong internal belief, obviously, in the company's future. And CRISPR Therapeutics has momentum. It's now up 58% year to date, riding optimism around, for one, its upcoming Q2 earnings expected soon, and two, a continued excitement over Casgevy, which is approved sickle cell gene therapy co-developed with Vertex. This comes at a time when the broader gene editing sector obviously has been under pressure. So this kind of insider signal from someone with a full board level visibility is turning heads. Third on the list is a big win for Abivax. The company's lead drug candidate, obefazimod, delivered positive results in 2 phase 3 trials, Biotech 1 and Biotech 2, for moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. At the 50 milligram dose, obefazimod achieved a statistically significant 16.4% placebo-adjusted remission rate by week 8. That's not game-changing in absolute terms, but it's meaningful, especially considering the patient population included many people who previously failed JAK inhibitors, which are typically second or third line treatments. Even better, all key secondary endpoints were met and the safety profile was clean, with no new safety signals. Abivax says it plans to submit for FDA and EMA approval in 2026, assuming its ongoing maintenance studies confirm durability. And the market clearly liked the data because shares jumped 400% on the news. This isn't a household biotech name, but with over 1,200 patients enrolled, this was a large global trial and it puts Abivax on the map in a crowded UC landscape that includes AbbVie, Pfizer, and Takeda. Next on the list is Replimune. The company was hit hard this week after the FDA issued a complete response letter rejecting the company's application for its lead asset RP1 in advanced melanoma. This came as a major surprise to analysts, especially since RP1 had both breakthrough therapy and priority review designations from the FDA. The FDA didn't cite any safety issues, but said the IGNITE trial lacked sufficient control and had too much heterogeneity in the patient population and trial design to support approval. Basically, the agency felt the data was not clean or rigorous enough to draw clean conclusions. Replimune plans to request a Type A meeting to discuss next steps, but this could mean a multi-year delay, potentially requiring a new, better controlled trial. Some analysts now expect RP1 won't be back in front of the FDA until 2029 or 2030, which raises existential questions for the company. The stock crashed 77% on the news. Then the next day, it actually rebounded over 30%, likely due to bargain hunters or short covering, not necessarily renewed optimism. But this isn't just a missed milestone, it's a credibility blow. Replimune had built a narrative around RP1 being the first big oncolytic virus breakthrough in melanoma, a space where checkpoint inhibitors already dominate. They also had partnerships and investor confidence riding on this readout, and this confidence is now definitely severely shaken. Replimune will need to rebuild trust, clarify its regulatory path, and convince investors it still has a viable future, not just with RP1, but with its broader pipeline. Rocket Pharmaceuticals is also making major changes to stay focused and conserve cash. The company announced a 30% workforce reduction and other cost-saving measures that are expected to slash operating expenses by about 25% over the next year. The restructuring comes as Rocket sharpens its focus on its AAV-based cardiovascular gene therapy pipeline, which includes programs for Danon disease, PKP2-associated arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy, and BAG3-related dilated cardiomyopathy. These are rare but severe heart conditions, and Rocket believes this segment offers the clearest clinical and commercial path forward. At the same time, Rocket is pausing or delaying some of its other programs, specifically for Fanconi anemia and pyruvate kinase deficiency, or PKD. FDA approval for these programs is now not expected until after 2026. The company is also putting regulatory energy behind Kresladi, its treatment for severe LAD-1, a rare immune disorder. With this leaner structure, Rocket says its cash runway now extends into Q2 of 2027, giving it more time to advance the programs it believes will matter most. This is part of a broader trend we've seen lately where biotechs are narrowing their pipelines to survive, particularly in gene therapies, which remains promising but costly and complex. That's it for today. Thank you so much for listening and for coming back, and I hope to see you back next week.